I don't know if you've seen young men like Jack Lang recently protesting in places like Dearborn, Michigan. He claims that these protests and demonstrations that he's doing are a crusade against Islam. And I say that we as a church need to speak up and give our support to young men like Jack Lang. In the book of Isaiah chapter 9 verse 17, it says that God takes joy in young men. God takes joy and pleasure in the strength and energy and life of young men like Jack Lang, and also young men like Charlie Kirk. God has blessed them with energy, life, strength, and power. And we as the church, we as the body of Christ, need their strength and their energy. These young men who are not afraid of showing strength, who are not afraid of being called names, who love their country and love their civilization and aren't afraid to defend it and to protect it, are doing God's work. God told Joshua and the men of Israel to be strong and very courageous. God is the one who has given young men this youthful masculine strength and energy to fight and to defeat evil in our nation. God has put in young men an instinct to fight against the Islamic takeover of America and the self-destructive agenda of the liberal left. During the first battles of the American Revolution, many times it was the pastors and ministers who were the ones who led the male members of their congregations into battle with the redcoats. The British and Loyalists called them the Black Robe Regiment. They told their men not to shoot unless shot upon, encouraging them to have self-control even when pressures were high in order to avoid reckless aggression. This is our most basic function as Christian men, to defend Christendom, to defend Christian lands like America and Europe from Muslim takeover. It's right for these young men to be upset with the state our country is in. The fact that Islamists who don't love our country are taking over, and the liberal left is aiding them in destroying our civilization and our country from within. God has given these young men the instinct to want to show strength in order to defend the garden that God has given us. We as the church need to cheer them on, and just like the pastors of the revolution, we need to step up and build these young men in the Lord, get them saved and disciple them to use their God-given strength and energy for God's purpose. The Lord has given us, Christian men, the command to occupy until He returns, to spread His kingdom and to defend His kingdom while He is away. This is what the Crusades were all about. It wasn't about Christian aggression. It was about Christian men defending Christian lands in the East against Muslim aggression and against Muslim takeover. This is the same battle we are in today. Evil never sleeps, and the specter of Islam has come to challenge the West again, as it did in the 7th and 10th century during the Crusades. And we must stand firm and fight back and defend the Lord's kingdom, defend Christian lands. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong." This is not the time to shrink back because of the criticisms of being a Christian nationalist, or of being Islamophobic, or of being a white supremacist. It's not about Islamophobia or white supremacy. It's about loyalty to Christ and following His command to occupy until He returns, to defend Christian lands and Christian territory.